So I don't think there's any guidelines anything that restricts us from doing that, is there? Having two, if we wanted to, Carl
wouldn't think
or
so.
Kathy?
No, I wouldn't think so.
So I'll leave that open too. So does anybody want to do paraprofessionals? You do.
Very good.
I do.
I think it's a good way to get your feet wet too, as far as going to the teachers.
I need to learn
negotiations,
this.
so.
The one thing you have to know, and it requires a lot of daytime
That's fine.
hours, because there usually aren't meetings at night. They're very rare.
They're usually late afternoon after school.
Right.
And they usually run a couple of hours each time.
Fine.
They usually start at 3:30 and go till 5:30 is usually what they
I
go.
can do it.
Okay. So, can I have a nomination for Karen Ericetti? So, I'm sorry. I forgot you were married.
Move to appoint Ms. Ericetti as the school committee representative for the paraprofessional negotiations.
I'd second that.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? If no one objects, if Cliff wants to take on the other three, does anybody have an objection to that? Because I don't, I'm fine with
Cliff,
it.
do you have an objection?
You have an objection to the other three?
I just said, I'm available. I'd be happy to take it on if
Michael?
nobody else interested.
Michael, you wanna,
I mean, I wouldn't mind working with Cliff on one of them just to get my feet wet.
I think maybe the
instead of just
custo-
do it by myself.
on that one, the custodian one might be, Carl, what do you think? Or the secretaries? I mean, the custodian is usually it's been fairly easy in the past, right? Well, I should say easy.
You don't use that word.
It's been it's been good negotiations over the years with them, and
I'd say the group that might most closely parallel the paraprofessionals this year will be the secretaries.
okay, so maybe Michael, you want to?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll work with Cliff on
Work
that
with
if you don't
Cliff.
mind.
All right.
Just to,
Yeah.
as a mentor type thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then can I make a motion to nominate Mr. Bowers as representative? Do we do them separately, right?
No, we can do them both for secretaries.
For secretaries and custodial contract negotiation. Is that right? I'm trying to make.
And food.
And food.
What is it? Food
No,
service.
Well, I think
I have to
No,
do them
let's
separately.
do Michael and let's do Cliff and
Secretaries.
Michael for secretaries first.
Okay, so the
Okay.
motion, all right, I'll amend my motion to include Mr. Kujakti and Mr. Bowers for just the custodians?
Secretaries.
Secretaries.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, there's a second.
I'll second that motion.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? And then can we have a motion for Cliff for food service and
Custodians.
custodian?
So moved?
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, so, if you have the contracts for the groups with which you're going to be working, start reviewing them. If you don't have them, call Ann or Carl, and we can get them.
I think
I
that
think
we have a
we have a
black book
binder
that
that
should have
should-
everything in
right.
it.
They're all in
I
there.
should have them in there, but if you don't, no, great, thanks.
We don't need to
Are
do
we
the
going
teachers.
to nominate a second person for the paraprofessionals?
Right.
We considered that.
I'd like
We
to,
have Cameron.
I would like to,
Either, if we
I'd
can't
like to
have a
be
second
involved in that,
person,
not
would be
necessarily
great.
come to every meeting, but I wouldn't mind.
I would actually
doing that.
appreciate that.
Move to appoint Mr. Webster as the second representative for the negotiations with the paraprofessionals.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, great.
Yay.
Okay, bills and payroll, done. Minutes, I still owe minutes from the September 20th meeting and the second goal workshop. They're sitting on top of my printer at home. But they're not here
Likely
tonight.
story,
No, they are.
Mr. Webster.
September 27th minutes, open meeting, I went through them, I didn't find anything, I don't know if anybody else did.
Nope. Anybody else?
Can I have a motion to approve, September 27th?
Motion to approve the minutes of, what'd you say, the executive session?
No, that's open
open
session.
Open session minutes of September 27, 2010.
Second?
Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. And then we have the executive session from September 27th, 2010. I'll note that Mr. Bowers did step out for part of this meeting due to the fact that we were discussing teacher negotiations. But he was there for the first half of it. So can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Move to approve the executive session minutes from September 27th, 2010.
Second?
Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Mr. Bowers abstains. And then we have the October 4th meeting, which was mainly with the selectmen to appoint Kathy and John Bernard to the Secondary School Building Committee. Motion to approve those.
Move to approve the open session minutes of October 4th, 2010.
Again, Mr. Bowers had to step out on part of this. Mr. Kushakji arrived a little late for that meeting. I think he can vote on the minutes if he wants. I think probably Mr. Bowers will abstain from these also, correct?
Right.
So we have a motion for the October 4th minutes. Do we have a second? Make a
Second.
Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? One abstention, Mr. Bowers. Okay, next we have, what do we have?
Subcommittee.
Information or subcommittee reports. I gave a brief report on the communications subcommittee before town meeting, but I'll quickly give it again. The subcommittee on communications met, and we discussed ways to improve communications both within the school committee and the school department and externally. I see here, and we'll be, I don't know if we'll do this tonight, but one of the things we discussed was a communications plan that was going to be put together by the superintendent with input from myself and Mr. Bowers, give one of those to Cindy too, who are on the subcommittee. So I think we should probably take a look at this. It's pretty simple, and we can vote on it at our next meeting, or?
Sure.
Because I don't want to rush it tonight, but
No.
this is basically a pretty simple plan of when the administration should communicate to the committee and how that communication should happen. And I think we had, I want to thank Mr. Nelson for one that he put out to us last week that was helpful in getting. So if you want to look at this, and we'll vote it at the next meeting. We also discussed that various ways for the superintendent to meet more people within the community. And we discussed a number of issues, including a regular newsletter that the superintendent is hoping to put together, getting out to meet the community at different events, and also around budget time, more articles in the paper, and maybe even a cable television show that talks about budget issues and what we're doing around the budget. So that sums up the communications subcommittee.
Has a name been selected for the newsletter? I know the chosen one, the buzz, has been taken.
It's been taken.
We got any ideas?
Not yet. I'll solicit any suggestions, though.
I suggested the Sting, but then we thought that it might be too,
It's too police-driven, I
Yeah.
think.
not good. Too many negative connotations of the word the Sting, so, anyway. Are there any other subcommittee? Did we have the evaluation subcommittee?
We did. What do you want to give up?
We had I don't know whether you got these meeting minutes.
No.
We did, I think,
Okay.
only us, yeah.
All right.
We'll distribute these.
Okay.
But we met on the 28th of September, 7 a.m. And we talked about the purpose was to develop pilot superintendent evaluation criteria, tools, and process, identify school committee evaluation criteria, tool, and process, and that our goals were to provide superintendent evaluation process that provides feedback to enhance performance, and the same for school committee. We wanted to have measurable objectives. We're going to pilot evaluative process and define that and implement it, and the same with the school committee itself. The activities would be to research and identify existing evaluation instruments, identify who contributes to the evaluation process, review the superintendent's contract, use resources available from MASC, MASS, and AASA and so forth, engage the superintendent in the process, develop the evaluation tools, implement the tools, use data from the evaluations to develop new goals, and provide regular subcommittee reports to the school committee. And we set some future dates.
Great, sounds like we made a lot of progress.
I think we set until February, all of our meeting dates, so
Great.
Right, we have,
Very proud of us
have
for that.
dates of October 28th, November 22nd, December 22nd, and January 19th,
Great.
all set and ready to roll.
And then we have policy subcommittee this week, and we have athletic subcommittee coming up, and evaluation subcommittee, and the communication subcommittee all coming up in the next few weeks. Next, moving on to October 1st enrollment.
In your packet, you will see that the official October 1st enrollment for this current school year was included, and the numbers include those students in attendance in the schools. The numbers do not include students in out-of-district programs or at the vocational or special education collaboratives. So there was a projected enrollment that had been provided to the school committee of 2,688 students, and this is 23 students short of that projected enrollment. So the actual current enrollment is 2,675 students pre-K through grade 12. What was provided for you in your packet was a comparison of the actual number of students in each grade to the projected number of students in each grade. You can see that there were two highlighted numbers. One had to do with the pre-K enrollment. The actual enrollment is 46. It had been projected that there would be 80, and I believe we had a previous conversation that movement of all of the pre-K programs to one elementary school may have impacted the total enrollment in the preschool program in this district. So we had a difference of 34 students in that program. The next number that stood out was the difference in the enrollment in grade 6. It was projected that there would be 214 students in grade 6, and there are actually 201, for a difference of 13 students. So I did a little digging around that, and we in fact had 13 students leave 5th grade to attend Austin Prep.
That's a big number.
It is a big number. So that was the information. So we had a total difference of 23 students. We did have a gain in kindergarten of 22 students. I think that that's also significant.
So we, that 80 number, do you think we would have been close to that if we, on the preschool, if we didn't have the preschool only at the Little?
Well, there has been some history around that. And in your packet, you saw that there was the 10-year enrollment projections. It starts with, it's this kind of a table. And if you take a look at, well, the pre-K isn't in here, but pre-K has historically been approaching 80 for the last several years.
Last year was 81.
Right. So
So we're down 60 students from last year, but if we add in 30 pre-K students approximately, then we're only down 30, and we'd actually be higher. Because the reason, the one little concern I have is whether we're going too low on how we're projecting the lower grades. Again, based on what I'm seeing around town, and that's new families buying bigger homes from families whose kids have now gone off to college or moved out, and whether we're going to start to see growth again in the lower grades. I guess that's, and I know we use other services to help us do these projections, but that's my concern, is that we don't get caught off guard with bigger lower grade enrollments. And the other, and it's not a concern because there isn't much we can do about it, but we did lose, again, 15, last year we lost 20%. This year we lost 15% from last year's 8th grade to this year's 9th grade. We had 230 in the 8th grade last year, and we have 196 in the 9th grade this year. So
Right.
that's about a 15%.
exactly.
So we have about 50 kids going off to private schools when you count the 6th graders who leave. And then we have another 10. Oh, actually, the 10 that go to the Northeast school are included in that
Mhm.
high school number, so that's not a private school, that's, okay. So